Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my review of the 2017 BMW S1000XR, the XR. First immediate impressions, I'm foot flat on the floor, 6'2", but yeah, she's a tall bike, that's for sure. Oh, she sounds good. That quick shifter's smooth as butter on this. She's in road mode at the moment, ready to rock and roll. She's definitely got the right amount of poke in her. Its quick shifter is up and down as well, so it has the auto blipper. Feels quite big up the front. The tank feels huge, certainly in comparison to the S1000RR, which, funny enough, I've just been out on the 2017 S1000RR. I didn't do a review on it because I've got something a little bit more special coming soon, very soon, so I'll do a review on that instead. But I wanted to do a review on this morning to see how this stacks up Ducati Multistrada, because I really enjoyed riding that bike. I'm not going to overtake here, I'm on a bend, and although there's a hospital up the road, I don't fancy visiting it, so let's see about now. Yeah, she's got some punch, she just goes. Yeah, I wanted to see what this was like in comparison with the Multistrada. Now, I'm getting a bit of buffeting on the top of my helmet from the wind, but nothing excessive, and a little bit on the shoulders, which I think is just coming off of the wing mirrors, like the tops of the mirrors. But you know, you're really being picky if you're, you know, going to whinge about that at the end of the day. BMW officially say that this is the bastard child of a GS and an S1000RR. Some people say it looks like the bastard child of Elephant Man and Dumbo, but here we are. To be honest, people give the S1000 looks a lot of stick, and you know, I don't think they look that bad. I don't think they look that bad at all. I mean, admittedly, my favourite shape is the sort of 2012 facelift, so 2012 to 2014 facelift of the first incarnation of the S1000RR. That was a truly lovely bike. I had one of those and it was unbelievable. But yeah, I think I've heard people say, oh, the GS is a better looking bike. Fuck off. I'm sorry, fuck off. The GS is not a better looking bike than the S1000RR. It isn't. It just isn't. I'm sorry. And it's not a better looking bike than this. This is miles better looking than the GS. Miles better looking. And you'll see that when I take you for a walk around it. I mean, people whinge and go, oh, yeah, but it's got scaffolding, and it's like, yeah, but the GS has got scaffolding in it. But yeah, I don't know. I personally think this is better. I mean, now I'm up to speed, getting a little bit more buffeting on the sort of top of my lid, but not a lot. I mean, look, this is a bike I think you could comfortably ride all year round. Round we go. But the smoothness of that power delivery, I think, could be deadly, and here's why. I think if you weren't paying attention, you could quite easily come in very hot to corners, etc., etc., which, yeah, that could spell trouble for you if you're not ready for it. But all in all, like, this bike is just very sharp. It's very, very sharp, very well put together. So going back to the switch gear, so you've got your dick lights, you've got cruise control up here, you've got your hazard lights, obviously you've got the trip info, the suspension settings, you've got your indicator, you've got your horn, which is pretty good actually. You've got a toggle wheel over here for the BMW integrated sat-nav malarkey thingy that they have. Over here you've got your kill switch, you've got your mode, you've got heated grips. So there's really a plethora of functions at your fingertips. And it really does just fucking fly. This has got the semi-active suspension on it as well, which is making for a very, very plush ride. It's keeping my body extremely comfortable, I'm not going to lie. It is. And the wind protection from down below the fairings, it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. You can I mean, obviously your knees are out a bit, so you know it doesn't give you the same level of protection as the GS Adventure does. Like the GS Adventure, to be fair to that bike, that she wraps you in cotton wool and it's like, don't worry dear, matron is here, we'll look after you. Whereas you know, this is a little bit more in keeping with the sporty side of things, so you don't get that luxury, but still it's still one hell of a machine, it really is. How do? Okay, so I've popped it into dynamic mode. I stopped and took some pictures of the bike, and I've popped it into dynamic mode just to see what this is like. Already it feels a lot sharper. The suspension feels much more solid and robust. I'll have to apologise a little bit for my tone. Where I just stopped obviously was near where the road was closed, and it looked like there'd been the accident that they closed it for it involved a biker, and you could still see the bike lying in the middle of the road, so it's a little bit disconcerting. So I hope that all involved are okay. So dynamic mode for this, I believe, is the full fat mode, so I'll be interested to see just how juicy this is in a second. I'm going to head back to the dealership now. Speaking of which, we'd just like to say a very big thank you to Cooper Motorrad at Tunbridge Wells for allowing me to take the bike out today and give you guys this review. So if you are in Kent and you're into BMWs, come down and give these guys a shout. They're a really good bunch of blokes. Tony or Chris will be able to sort you out in there. So back to the task at hand then. So we are going to try pop through some lanes on the way back now, and see what she is like in the dynamic mode, although straight away I seem to have run into a wall of traffic, which is just... So in summary then, what do we think are the excellent points about this bike? Well, the manoeuvrability is excellent. The acceleration is amazing. The riding position is good. You get a good commanding view of the road, but you're still sporty enough that you can have some fun, but not uncomfortable, which is good. It's controllable power, let's put it that way. It's manageable. It's sort of around that perfect figure for the road where you can really open the taps, not lose your license forever and still have a good time. The quick shift assist up and down is just silky smooth. The changes are almost butter-like. They're that comfortable. The stock exhaust actually gives a very nice note from it. Oh, get out of the way, you fucktard! Thank you, ruining my review. Right, yeah, the stock exhaust gives it's just got that nice growl to it. It's just got that nice growl to it, and the bike just has that manoeuvrability that you need for that perfect crossover between sports and I'm not going to say adventure or enduro, I'm just going to say touring. Okay, I would say this is a bike I could quite happily spend all day on and not get bored, because it is so much fun to ride and it is so easy to control, and it just holds the road so well. It's very well shaped. It will go where you put it, you know. It's precise handling, which is another big plus point for this bike. See, the fact that it's got the dynamic suspension, which sounds like it's beating me up at the moment, but the road surface is actually pretty appalling. So, you know, again, and all of this is still less than £16,000. If you get the very, very top of the range model of this, I think it's like 15. But the base model starts at 13, and you still get all of the semi-active suspension and stuff. So, you know, it's worth having. It's worth the money. It really is. Like, when you consider that the S model of the Multistrada that has the Skyhook suspension on it, right, which adjusts, is the base model of that alone is £16,700, right? The top of the, and that's the base model, that's without, and it doesn't have quick shift up and down, right, which this does. And this is the top of the range model of this is 15 grand. I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's this all day long over a Multistrada, and you've got the same level of wind protection. The stock exhaust sounds just as good as the Multistrada. It's got a nice, you know, sort of bark to the engine, and it's just really, really, really sublime handling. You know, like, it's so manoeuvrable. You can, I mean, Baron has proved you can do track days on this. You can do track days on this bike. I'm sure you can probably do track days on a Multistrada as well. But yeah, you can do track days on this bike and really have quite a lot of fun. Whereas, you know, on other bikes, let's say, that are in the category, like the Super Duke would also be a competitor for this, the Super Duke GT, I mean. But this is by far, I think, a better machine. I think, as a rule of thumb, this bike has the potential to be the top sports touring bike in its class. I think it does. I mean, it's just sublime with the handling. Even on bumpy roads, it's soaking up the punishment. Although I have got to get some more fuel. So it might be a little juicy on the fuel, but it's just soaking up the punishment, and it just wants to be ridden. It's a nice, fun, friendly package, I think. I think it's a great package. You know, I don't think people can get bored riding this. I really don't. I think you can have an absolute ball riding this. In summary, then, I think pound for pound, this is the best crossover between sports and touring that you can buy. I think it's better than the Multistrada. I think it's better than the Super Duke GT. Not the Super Duke, the Super Duke GT. And I really do think that in terms of value for money, this has it hands down. I've ridden the I've owned the Kawasaki Z1000. I've not ridden the Z1000SX, but the Z1000SX is down 20 brake horsepower on this mode. So again, nice as well feature on this that you can change the modes on the fly. Some of the bikes you can't. It's very annoying. So yeah, even in rain mode, you know, it's still got the power. It's still got the power. But no, all round, I think this has got to be one of the most best value for money bikes on the market. It really has. It really has. I think BMW have really excelled themselves with this. I approached this bike this morning with a completely open mind, not knowing what to expect. And I have to say, I've been blown away by it. I've been blown away by it. It is one hell of a bike. I can see why so many people buy them. I really can. It's just silky smooth. Silky smooth. It's right there where you want it, and it just cruises so well as well. This is the thing. Again, this is one of those bikes, I think if you just had to get the miles done, this is it. This is your weapon of choice. Yes, the fuel range is not going to be as good as something like the GS. It's just not, because it's a juicy inline 4, and obviously you want to ride it like you stole it in certain stretches of road. So it's not going to be that way inclined, but it is still one hell of an amazing machine. Yeah, I could spend all day on this. I really could. I could spend all day on this bike and not get bored, not get tired. I could really, really enjoy myself on this, and that's what I think you've got to look at whenever you're buying a bike with a specific purpose. So I do have some objectives next year that I want to achieve, and a long distance trip around Europe is one of them. I have some other objectives as well. So I'm not necessarily going to be buying one of these, but I will be looking at borrowing one of these when I go around Europe, because I think this is the one to do it on. I really do. Anyway, it's been fun. It's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I hope you found it informative. And I'll catch you very soon.